Hey Facebook, this is the inaugural episode of Wine About Life, a new series I'm doing with different business leaders and entrepreneurs in the community to get to know their story and what made them the person that they are. First guest here is going to be with Jan Leasure from Diamond Residential Mortgage. If you'd like to be participating with me, drink some wine, talk about your story, send me a message. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Talk about what made Jan the person that she is, the leader in this community, and just have her discuss a little bit about herself. So cheers, Jan,
Yeah,
and
cheers,
thanks
Nick.
for
Thank you.
being part of the inaugural version of this.
I'm Jan Leasure. I am the Division President of Diamond Residential Mortgage in Libertyville. And we are the local premier lender, we hope, in the area.
Yeah, so
Ask away.
the biggest thing that I'm super passionate about is that everybody's got a story and everybody has something that's unique about them that made them the person that they are. It might be an experience, it might be some things that you went through, or a process that just defines who you are now.
There are some things that made me who I am today, and I think it started when I was about 15 years old. I was an only child, and when I was 15 years old, my dad had a massive coronary, and he was hospitalized for 3 months. Simultaneous to that, my boyfriend at the time, who was my childhood friend from the time I was 2 years old, was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma, which is a form of bone cancer.
Wow.
And I was instrumental in getting him to tell his parents that he was not okay, and they got him to the doctor saved him, my dad was saved, but I spent about a 90-day period before my 16th birthday in Lutheran General Hospital visiting them and, hoping that they were going to be okay, being their cheerleader, later making my boyfriend take me to the mall and to parties and to school. Sure. Because he was going around on one leg and some crutches. And I think in retrospect what that taught me was that life is short and people are very, very important. And I don't believe that in all the years that followed, and I won't say how many, that's my mantra, is that life is very short and people are super important and you have to make the best of every single day. And I take that into my business. I felt the same way when I became a parent.
Sure.
And I give 1,000% to everything that I do, to my family, to my employees, and to my clients.
How's that adjusted, like your leadership focus, whether it's interacting with people here at the branch or in the community? Like, how do you take that mindset, now that you went through all of that, to change the interactions that you're doing on like a day-to-day basis even?
Well, I think what happens is it takes any disingenuousness out of what you're doing.
Sure.
Because people recognize that you really care. You and I didn't discuss this, but I was taught a school teacher for 20 years. I taught junior high school English for 20 years before I got into this business, and I also was a college instructor. I taught college English, principles of real estate for another 10 years, and I was also a syndicated columnist for 35 years, all simultaneously.
Sure.
Or I would turn to dust in front of you on this video. But I've done a lot of different things, and I have had the same mindset throughout my entire career, and all of the many different hats that I wear and have worn in the past. And the best advice that I could ever give to anyone is to take a step back, get to know your family and your customers and your parents and your children and your local merchants. And if people can recognize how much you care about them, I think you get not only more out of your business, but you get more out of your life as well.
Because of the things that you went through, that you were able to share your life experiences with somebody to make a difference, for somebody who may not, or may have been starting to go through something like that, where you really made an impact. So maybe it was with teaching, maybe it was with even doing the mortgages, but where somebody needed you to carry that load for them. Like you needed to carry that load for them.
Well, for sure. For sure it was with teaching. I had 36 kids in a class, 6 classes a day, so the people that are complaining when they have 15 students in a class, and they're overloaded, I can't relate to that. But not only, this wasn't just a lesson, it's an honest interaction with people, because I really did care. I think kids, even the difficult kids, could tell how much I cared about them, and I still do, and I'm still in touch with so many of them throughout the year. I do have one very emotional story that has to do
Sure.
with the mortgage business. So when I had been a loan officer for probably less than a year, I was approached by a Hispanic family from Waukegan who were losing their home. They were losing their home to foreclosure, and they had a son who was in a wheelchair, and he was very, very incapacitated by cerebral palsy. And the mom was working at St. Therese Hospital in the custodial division, and the dad worked on a local farm. We actually do have some farms in Libertyville. And they didn't have a lot of income coming in. It was pretty much an impossible situation. But I devoted all of my time to that, and I was able to get a bank to refinance their first. I was ready to get I was able to get a local business person to do a $15,000 second mortgage for him, because we certainly couldn't get any secondary financing in order to follow the guidelines. And then we were able to get everyone else to donate their services for free. So a title company participated, we had an attorney that participated, and it took the better part of maybe 90 or 120 days for me to be able to do that.
Sure.
But when we got finished, we saved the house for the family. The young man was able to stay in his house and not be displaced, which was huge. A huge benefit to them, because I think that he wouldn't have made it as long as he did. And he lived for another 10 years, and then sadly he did pass away. But when that happened, they were still in their home, and that's something that I look back on, and that was about 20 years ago. But I would say I've had a lot of high points and low points in my career as a loan officer. But I think that was probably the most emotional and the most gratifying transaction that I participated in.
To switch gears up a little bit, similar subject, but switching gears just a bit, you've got a nickname. I think in this world, do you want to say what that is?
I do. I'm the Lake County Loan Goddess.
And how did you get that nickname?
I got that name from a client. He was looking for a home in Waukegan, and he purchased an 11-bedroom home that used to be a place where the nuns lived. And his plan was actually to make it into kind of a big house, like on the theme of the Friends television show, you know. And that again was a very difficult transaction.
Sure.
The place had old boilers, and it's a very old home, and we had to negotiate with the priest, and the priest liked me, and so we were able to get the boiler replaced.
Okay, makes more sense now.
Get some of the you'll make me blush. We were able to get the boiler replaced and get the roof replaced, and he purchased it. This is a little while ago for $115,000. He never was able to get a permit from the city to actually culminate what his project was going to be, but he had the house for a very long time. And by the time when we got finished and we were at the closing, he said, "You are a loan goddess." So I took it.
Anything else you want to say about what do you offer unique to this community that could be of interest to anybody who's watching this video that may be even a little bit more niche? So you do amazing mortgages, and as you said in the beginning, love to be everybody's go-to, but like, is there anything niche that you do that might be unique? So even if they have a guy, well, Jan does this though, so I think I should call her about this.
Yeah, I do a couple of things, and most recently I went back to school. So I do have a bachelor's, I do have a master's. So I have, as far as education is concerned, I do have a lot to offer to my clients as far as problem solving, and this is a business of problem solving. You know, you can go on the internet sometimes if you're lucky, and you can get a mortgage if you qualify, and mortgages are kind of tricky to do. But most recently, I went back to school and I got certified as a CLDP, which is a certified mortgage divorce lender. It's a little bit of a lengthy class, and some testing involved. And I am going to be I do work with attorneys as it is, but I am going to be working with more divorce attorneys and trying to reach clients who are thinking of getting a divorce, who are in the process of divorce, before they get to a very desperate point
Right.
where they might lose their house. One of the things that we've always done in our office is analyze credit, help people with their credit, try to get
Yep.
them to a point where they can purchase a home. And in this case, we might be dealing with people who started out with good credit, but sometimes, sometimes the divorce situation can get a little bit contentious. People decide that they're not going to pay their mortgage or pay their
Yep.
bills because they're angry, and we try to.
Or even I've heard of times where like there's a structured plan that it's supposed to be paid a certain way, and a trustee doesn't pay it or something like that, and it messes with somebody's
Well,
credit
for
as well.
sure.
When everyone's trying to do it by the book, so there's
Right, so
unique
we're-
circumstances.
We want to build a good team and be a part of a number of different teams so that we can create a situation where people can not only stay in their homes, but they can retain their credit so that when they do go their separate ways, whether they keep their home, sell their home, move on to another situation, that they don't have to wait 7 years because they had a foreclosure or they had a bankruptcy on their credit and they can't really start over, because I think that only, and I am divorced, so I think that
Sure.
that only adds, more pain to an already painful situation.
Well, at least if nobody wants to go through that situation, but knowing that if you're working with Jan, that she does know that situation firsthand, so I think that might help some people as well. That they don't feel ostracized, they don't feel different. That this painful event's going on. So that's good.
I appreciate that, and I think that having gone through that experience, you're right. Having gone through that experience does give you a unique perspective, and not only can we do a compassionate loan. I have never heard that before, but
Sure.
I think we can do a compassionate loan.
Right.
There's a lot of empathy involved, and there's also a lot of hard work involved in that too. So the borrowers, the couple that's getting divorced, their attorneys, everybody has to be a part of the team for the best interest of the people. And I think that's critical.
Good. How would people try to if they wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that would be to call our office at 847-362-1335. I can be reached by text on my cell phone. I can be reached by email. I'm very easy to find. So if you Google Jan Leasure, Leasure,
Or probably Loan Goddess
or Loan
too.
Goddess, yes, or Lake County Loan Goddess, you will be able to find me.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching the Wine About Life series. If you're a business leader, community leader, or entrepreneur and you want to share your story about what made you the person you are, send me a direct message. We have a subscription to Gary V's Wine Empathy Club, and so we're going to be sampling those as we talk about your story and what made you the person that you are. Again, send me a direct message and we'll get you on the show. Thanks again, guys.